using the verb to take, which is taken by surprise. And really, this just means surprise, but there is a little bit of a difference. Let's look at the difference between taken by surprise and surprise. So if we say, well, I lost my place. Give me a second. The answer surprised John, and the answer took John by surprise. There's just one little difference. When you say the answer surprised John, the focus is on the answer. But when you say the answer took John by surprise, the focus is on how John feels. So when you use take by surprise, you put the focus on John and how he feels, and not about the answer. And this is very much like the passive voice, where you focus on the result or you focus on the object and not on the subject. So actually we will practice using the passive voice with this. It's a perfect time to use the passive voice. So let's do a situation here where we say the teacher announced that there was going to be an unscheduled surprise test. That's usually called a pop quiz. So we'll call it a pop quiz. Okay, so that's a surprise test, a pop quiz. Now let's make a how Lucy feel when teacher announce question. How did Lucy, how did she feel? How did she feel when? How did she feel when the teacher announced? How did she feel when the teacher announced the pop quiz? Now we could say the announcement surprised Lucy. That would be okay. But the problem is, if you say the announcement surprised Lucy, you are focusing on the announcement. But really, what we really want to know is Lucy's feelings. We want to focus on Lucy's feelings. So let's change this to take by surprise. Okay, so the announcement took Lucy by surprise. The announcement took Lucy by surprise. And now suddenly we're focusing on how Lucy feels. And the announcement isn't very important anymore. But we can make this, we can focus this even more by making it into passive voice. So let's change this sentence into passive voice. The original sentence is, the announcement took Lucy by surprise. How will you change that to passive voice? Lucy, or she was taken. She was taken by surprise. She was taken by surprise by the announcement. And now it's really focused on Lucy. Now we're really focused on how Lucy feels. She was taken by surprise when the teacher announced the pop quiz. And that's how usually you would do it. You usually would put this in the passive voice. That's a good time to use the passive voice with this phrase. Let's try another example using taken by surprise, which focuses on how the person feels and not about the event or the cause. Here is a situation. John has a pretty nice job, and he believes he's doing a good job at his work. But this morning, he was fired. Let's make a how John feel when fired question. How will you make a how John feel when fired question? How did he feel? How did he feel when he was? How did he feel when he was? How did he feel when he was fired? How did he feel when he was fired? Okay, here's the answer. The firing surprised him. The firing surprised him. But when you say it like that, first of all, it's weird to say the firing here, I think. But when you say it like that, the focus is on the event, the firing. But we want to focus on how John feels, what happened to John, okay? So instead of saying the firing surprised him, let's use taken by surprise. The firing took him by surprise. Took him by surprise. The firing took him by surprise. The firing took him by surprise. And now we're really focused on how he felt, what happened to him when he got fired. Okay, but actually, let's make this even stronger. Let's focus even more on his feelings and what happened to him by making this a passive voice sentence. So instead of saying the firing took him by surprise, let's make it passive voice. He was taken. He was taken by surprise. He was taken by the surprise when he was fired. He was taken by surprise. He was taken by surprise when he was fired. How did he feel? How did he feel when he was? How did he feel when he was fired? He was taken by surprise. He was taken by surprise when he was fired. Okay. Now let's move on to another useful phrase using